projector, and over here my desk has to be redone because I have jacked it up working and painting on it. But anyway, it's got a new paint job going on anyway today, or hopefully tomorrow, I don't know. But anyway, so right there, that is our ILEG Ultimate Apex Gamer Complete Projection Screen Paint. First things first, my name is Kenneth Bird. My company is ILEG, stands for Infusion Light Energy Gain. And this will be our ILEG Ultimate Apex Gamer Complete, which does just about everything. It does movies, it does sports, it does video games, because that's what it's designed for, but it does everything. But anyway, pretty soon I'm going to be converting this section into a 235.1 wraparound, which is going to hit one wall, come out the other side. So we're going to be doing that today, but also too, we're going to be doing a 24 by 36. Now that's not a 24 by 36. A 24 by 36 is half of that, and you have to turn that around for that to show you that's 24 by 36. But the surface, oh, look at this. I never get used to the invisible screen. These things are crazy. Anyway, so the surface that we're going to be bringing out, I don't have a price yet. I know I gave a price on it, but I keep forgetting that I got to go to the post office first and figure out what this price is going to cost. How much is it going to cost me to ship this? So I got to go pop over there, and I'm going to take one of them out of the package that I have coming over of 12, and just take it over and say, hey, how much would it cost me to ship this and the box and so forth. And then I'll find out exactly how much it's going to cost, and we can go from a price from there. I'm looking at, sorry about that. I'm looking at this thing over here. This is really, can I zoom up on this? I must zoom up, my camera's busted. I have to get a camera. I like this camera. I like this phone. But anyway, this right here, I like this stuff right here. This stuff is really interesting. You find all kinds of cool stuff in here. That's why I like to do these crazy builds. This kind of gives me inspiration when I see stuff like this. Got a nice little apartment over top. There's a, I know what kind of cooling system that is. That's a ductless cooling system right there. And then down here we have another apartment down here. We have a door right there and a cat sleeping right there. And then we have the nice beautiful city down the street. Only thing that bothers me about this whole setup here is the hill. Because man, that is a freaking hill. If you drive, it's probably nothing at all, period. But if you walk, that's going to be something else. Especially going up. Here you got good torque on your car. But anyway, yeah, other than that, it's beautiful. A nice little store in there. They got a nice little store in there. That is pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. That is pretty cool. I like places like this. That is an absolute beautiful place. But anyway, we'll get back over here. So projector we're using in the demonstration, it's a Chrissy LW400. I actually advised a few people to actually get this projector because it's very affordable. It's not expensive. It's a 720p model, and it is WXGA. And as you can see, and it comes up nice, sharp, and beautiful, as it should look like that. And slap it on everything. And you, I'm wrapping on so much stuff. Let me put my charge back in. I have business that has to be conducted today. Screens are coming in today, so we'll finish them off today, so that'll be done. Happy about that. And what else are we working on today? We got demonstrations of doing the screens when they get there. We still waiting for the projector to get here, so we need the projector for the 235.1, but until then we could do 120-ish maybe? Maybe 110 and 16.9. Yeah, 16.9 is the best size. Because there's two sizes. So let me go over here. Okay, we're on this. Let's see over here. Definitely going to be pausing that, coming back to that later on, because I do like that whole setup right there. Look at me This is what it looks like without the invisible. This is usually on my visible monitor over there. And this is without the invisible monitor. Let's see. One of the things I love about the Apex is the white levels are insane. Let me see. I do like to show off as much as I possibly can is the black screen's white level capabilities. Oh yeah, I get the rest of my ceiling, the rest of my light covers coming in today too on top of that. It's still pretty bright in here. Mind you, my lights are 24,000, so even with these things over top, they kind of cut down on the damage it's causing to my eyes, and I think especially his too. So yeah, I got the covers. I'm like, how the frick do people deal with these things? I'm not used to having this much light in the environment on top of me. And literally, the temperature kicks up in here when these lights are on. So I can understand about people saying that on Broadway, being under the stage lights and it's really hot. I can imagine so. Good gracious. But anyway, yeah. Definitely cut down on my headaches. So I ordered 2 more, and I ordered another set of, I got these beautiful skies, and I got the one with the cherry blossoms. That's what I was looking at when I was in an MRI one time. I was gonna get an MRI, and I looked up and they had these pretty images coming from the ceiling. Like, what the freak? Like, I'm thinking there's a giant screen up there with a projector, and then find out they're covers. So my sister said when she was working at the office, yeah, they got them in there. Those lights will mess you up. And they're not joking. Them things give awful headaches, man. From the year I've been here, I'm surprised my eyesight is not damaged. I had no idea. I thought it was coming from. Well, the monitor was triggering it off too. So we get the monitor and we got the lights. But at least we know at the end of the day that the technology can run at 24,000 if we ever have to go run into a situation. So it'd be different if I did all the demonstrations with the covers on to begin with. Then we don't really know if the product can take 24,000. Well, because we did a year in this spot at 24,000, we ran with everything in here, we already know. So to put covers on here, and people will say, well, you're covering it up. We did a year in here at 24,000. That's why I'm surprised my vision's still intact. So we already passed that already. And it doesn't make a difference, covers or not. You can't see contrast. Where you don't get that understanding. If I literally be at form sites all the time having this conversation with people. Like, at any point, if you put it in an ambient light controlled environment, that don't mean anything. You can't see contrast. Doesn't make a difference to you what projector you use, whether it be Pico, whether it be the venue projector. It don't make a difference. Ultra, short throw, long throw. You can't see contrast. That's number one thing that's the most important when it comes to your screen. It's that freaking contrast level. Contrast plays a major role in home theater. Why? The detail, the depth, the detail and depth, needs contrast. You wouldn't need a higher res projector. You wouldn't need 4K. You wouldn't need 1080p if your screen was actually black, because all that resolution, that sharp visual image, it comes from a screen that basically darker screens produce that image. That's why the gunmetals are so freaking expensive, because they can have that capability. Where the gray and white screens don't have it, and they're cheaper, which means it's going to cost you more money for a projector to correct the issue. You don't have that issue. And then on top of that, you have to have contrast. Contrast involves in everything. It involves in gaming, it involves in sports, it involves in movies, it involves in TV show. Anything that comes up black on that screen has to read 100% black. There you go. That's how that works. What are you going to do? When you're watching a movie, someone's wallet's black, someone's glass is black, the countertop is black, the car outside is black, you're just going to pass it off as a fake gray? A fake black, it's gray? It has to be black. When he did the movie, Men in Black, what color are the glasses? They're actually black, right? What color is the car they drive? It's black. What color is the suit they wear? It's black. You're not getting that 100% on a gray and white screen. They're faking it. So you're not really getting that. So all the money you just dumped into a projector still can't give you that 100% black level that is required. And if you don't have it, guess what happens? That means ambient light rejection technology does not work on lighter screens. It works on darker screens have that capability. Now, the darker your product is, when you have to go through a whole lot of testing besides that, because yeah, it's a whole lot of testing the ambient light rejection. Ambient light rejection can react differently. It can react differently on the Pico. It can react differently on the venues. It can react differently on ultra short throws. It can react differently on well-lit environments. What type of well-lit environment are you going to be in? Is it going to be inside? It's going to be outside? It's going to be home? It's going to be commercial? All that stuff can plague your screen. So that's how I know from the door when people are saying 2.0. 2.0 is an easy cop-out by saying, without testing, that my screen can pick up an image in a fully lit environment. So you're in an ambient light controlled environment. The problem is if you're trying to sell this product outside of home, which is going to be a headache because anyone with a home is going to have to equalize their environment, the lighting in there, to accommodate the screen. It's supposed to be the other way around. But you can't work in commercial. Hey, check this out. I love this thing, man. The screen is incredible. It's invisible technology. I'm having to kick off this thing. But anyway, so again, you can't work in commercial. You can't work outside because outside it's a completely different environment. Commercial, completely different environment. But what they do is they base their home information of what they get in an ambient light controlled environment off business and off outside. No, it doesn't work that way. Definitely doesn't work that way. And then you're using the same typecast projector that you use in your demonstration, which is going to change depending on the environment. So basically, like the customer, perfect example for the fellow named Fernando, Crow 1176. This is a perfect example. In his demonstrations, he has a habit of constantly showing an ultra short, though 4K projector, a high-end machine with a 2 million to 1 contrast and 1.7 billion colors attached to his machine. Now he's always in a dark environment. He has a little bit of light black behind the back of the screen, some lighting underneath the bottom. That's done just to give off a fake illusion that the area is well lit, but it's not. Opening up the door for experts at the end of the day who study ambient light rejection, we look up at your ceiling because your ceiling tells the story of how far that light is passing over. Now, if it's passing all the way over, that means your bookcases, all that stuff would have been well lit. And when you open up the door, you can't point this way because it goes dark here, it goes dark in the corner, and it goes dark in the corner there. We can see all that in demonstrations. The windows, not even close to pushing any form of ambient light. The windows are blocked because there's objects in there destructing the view. And then on top of that, with the sofa sitting there, any light that peeks underneath of that window, it's going to hit that sofa first. No, that doesn't work. That's why when I did the demonstration, I had the screen sitting in a fully lit environment with 5 windows in the environment. There is no place for that screen to block any light. There's no dark curtains, no dark shades or veneer curtains or light. You can see right through them. There is designed to show you that the screen can operate in an environment just like that. Now, this new technology we have here, I can set this thing in the middle of a greenhouse and it would fire up at 300 lumens because it's designed to do that kind of capability, that kind of technology. But that's the problem you have. So the lighter screens do not have and possess ambient light rejection technology. That's why your projectors are costing you so much money because you're trying to fix something that's unfixable. It's an unfixable screen. I don't care how much money you spend for contrast, you won't be able to see it. And if he sits there ever sits there in this apartment and say, oh, my 2 million one picks up. No, Jack, it doesn't, because I sat there and watched that demonstration along with everybody else called the network grade 773 versus your screen, and the LG logo did not come up in black. It came up gray on your screen. It came up gray on the other screen. The only thing that was black on the screen was the border. That was it. And then you turn out the lights, you make it dark in there and say, hey, look, this is the contrast pulling up. I don't even know how people can sell a product under that base, under that research study. How? What happens if the customer turns the lights on? Then what happens? The screen washes up. They're not going to stick it in the same environment you have. Everybody has a different environment. So again, this screen's going to end up costing you more money. So now you got to pay more money for contrast. That will never, ever work. You get 1.7 billion colors, you can kiss that out the door because that's not going to happen. Because again, unless you're showing all light colors and they still fail at light colors, what about the dark color shades? Because there are dark colors that pop up on the screen. There's dark green, there's dark purple, there's dark red, there's dark orange, there's dark yellow. What about those colors? Are we just going to take all those and just cut them out, throw them over in the corner? We're not going to use that. So you spent $3,500 for a projector, and you mean to tell me 1.7 billion colors, you only use a certain percentage of that? A certain small percentage? And then the 2 million to 1 contrast, let's take that out too, because you're not using that either. And the 4K application, you have 4K, and you go to any form site. I don't care, go to any form site you want. Even go to Elite Screen, go to Contact, Black Diamond, anyone you want. And say, hey, look, 4K and 1080p applications. What do they project better on? A white screen, a gray screen, or a dark screen? And I guarantee they tell you dark screen. Because it wasn't meant for the white screen and gray screen. Why? The contrast. That's why. Because usually those projectors have real high contrast levels on it. Now, if you're trying to get black to show up on your screen, what chance would you have a better chance of receiving a darker shade of gray or close to somewhat darker shade black if you have a screen that's white? Well, that's going to be much lower than if you have a screen that's gray. If you put them side by side, the gray screen picks up a star field better than the white screen, so you're improving a little bit more. Now you move up to a mid-gray, which is pretty much a dark star, not dark star, it's a Cinema Gray 5D or 3D, one of them. They're a little bit darker, so now contrast improves a little more. And now you hit the Dark Star 9, which has that ultra dark gray. It got much, much better. Then you hit black, you don't need it anymore. So technically, the contrast, which are much higher on more 4K and 1080p models, basically work better on darker screens. And if your screen's darker, that means your colors pop higher. That means your ambient light rejection is designed to reject more light because they absorb it because it's darker. There you go. That's the whole thing. He taught you backwards. So all the people who subscribe to his channel, you don't know jack because he taught you backwards. Yeah. You were taught backwards. So bottom line is, ooh, look at this right here. I never get used to this thing. Look at the light reflecting off that thing. Is that crazy or what? Anyway, that's new technology working right there. But anyway, as I said before, you were taught backwards. So anybody on his channel who claims to know about, you don't know jack about projection screen setups. You don't know nothing. Because everybody knows, you go to any form site, will tell you at the end of the day that it's not the lighter screens that give off the best picture quality, it's the darker ones. Even AI on Google knows that one. But you guys believe that your lighter screens were actually pricking up these hot. No. He made a fool of you guys. If you have a video out there floating around right now that you claim that the lighter screen, there are people laughing at you because they know that's not true. If that was true, all right, say the gray screen pulls the best image, right? If that's true, then why does it not cost more than the darker gunmetals that are like $7,000, $8,000, $5,000, $3,000 screens? Elite Screen has a white screen. They have something called Cinema Gray, which is actually the same color almost as some of these gray paints out here. That's like $800. They have the Cinema Gray 5D, which is a little darker. That's about $1,400, $1,500. And then you reach the Dark Star 9, which is the darkest one, the flagship. They're beast at the end of the day, $3,000. So why does the gray screen cost less? Taught you backwards, that's why. Then they try to make you believe at the end of the day that you were saving hundreds. Yeah, right, you were spending more money. He spent $3,500 for a projector. How much did we spend for ours in our video? Yeah, not a lot of money. Not a lot of money. This would cost me $50. The one I got sitting over there, my Epson, cost me $16.25. My Sony CX100 cost me $10. My Pico projector sitting over here, the Kimi 2, cost me $40. My Ultra Short though here in the corner that I have, that I've actually done demonstrations off floors. I've done demonstrations in different commercial environments with this thing. I have done demonstrations at screen sizes of 150 inches in fully lit environments that the P2 projector can't even complete. Mind you, the P2 does up to 120 maximum. This projector's maximum is 80. There you go. And that projector over there, cost me $60. projector Dell, I think it's around here somewhere. The Dell cost me $31. So roughly, I don't pay anything for projectors. And then the $3,500 he paid for that machine. Gee whiz Louise, how many projectors we could have purchased in that timeline? Yeah, all that money to be stuck in the dark, had to calibrate the machine, and the contrast levels don't even pull. Now, he may think at the end of the day, oh, no, buddy, we use you as an example because you are a perfect example. You are the most perfect example on why someone who overhyped a great product that it just doesn't do what it's supposed to do. That screen paint is 10 years old. At least 10 years old. 10, maybe 15 years old at the most. Yeah, probably, yeah. They can't read. Oh, the beautiful white levels. Let's go look at some fish shades. Boom. Oh, we got the Lowe's commercial in there. Now, because we had a very interesting people making false statements about our technology, because you're jealous, and you felt the need to say that our technology came out so dark it's unwatchable. Again, I can't express this enough. Anyone we catch with that, it's a $10 million lawsuit. Oh yeah, we'll hit you hard with that one. It's a very serious statement. And if there's enough videos in circulation, we are pushing for 5 to 10 years in jail time. It's a very serious statement. Someone made that statement because they were very upset and bitter because our products do work. Because if it didn't, none of my customers would be able to show demonstrations better than those who sell product. That's another thing, being nailed in your coffin in court. Ain't gonna go well. But anyway, as I said before, yeah, because they're very jealous, that's why. That's why they did all those demonstrations of making false accusations of products, and other people who did the exact same thing too. Just to let you know, we got you on record already. So we'll see you soon in court. But anyway, so yeah, they were just jealous, very upset and bitter about the product. Now, what I have to do today, we have a special edition Apex coming out. My nephew's going to get one. He's a huge gamer. He's getting one, and a couple other people are going to be getting one. This is going to be a 24 by 36 surface. I thought, when he came over, we looked, they said, just make one, I can put on my desk. That'd be pretty cool. That's actually a pretty good idea. So we have one coming out. It's a special coating. It has to be a special coating for this particular surface. But anyway, I have to go to the post office today. So I have to tell you, when we got some coming in, I got to go walk over and I got to find out how much it's going to cost me to ship that surface. So we have that panel coming in. And that's the same panel. We have here the same structure panel, but this panel is a little bigger. What are we getting that's causing that here? Is this down here? Yeah, that's why. That's wonderful. So basically, ooh, look at hold on, look at that. Look at that. I just never get used to that. I should have my dinosaur. I'm gonna get a fish or something on the other side of that. Something cool. I don't know. But this is cool with that. That's my main screen right there. But anyway, so we have that 24 by 36 coming in, and that's gonna be sprayed with a special coating for like a kind of a dedicated setup for gamers and stuff like that. We want a much smaller screen. My other one's painted on a 30-inch. That one actually 24 by 36 is roughly about 40 inches. So it's a good size screen. And we're going to have a special custom coated panel for that. It's not going to be the same as this. It's going to be something a little different. So that we're going to have on the site pretty soon. As soon as we go to the post office to figure out how much it's going to cost me to ship it. That's what I have to figure out. So I got panels coming in today because we're going to wrap this whole area 109-inch 235.1 screens from one section to the next. That's going to look great on a freaking flight simulator. Driving? Yeah, driving looks like on a 235.1. Oh my goodness. Movies on the 235.1? Oh my goodness. That's the thing about it. When you have people talking about dedicated theater rooms is 235, 239.1. That's dedicated. Anything within that aspect ratio of the 235 or 1.7, whatever in that area, that's dedicated. That's true dedicated. Then you have different types of dedicated theater room setups, which again, they probably did not explain this to you, right? They probably think dedication is just you having one room dedicated to the theater. No. There's different types of dedicated theater rooms. Now, if you're building like a movie theater, like I did in the other place, that's dedicated, but then there's another version that's actually beyond dedicated than that, and that involves a certain type of projector, which a customer was actually building one that had the seating area and the projector sitting way in the back and a booth When you put a projector in a booth, you need a special type of lens to use that. Because use a standard lens, the problem you're going to have is when it fires off, it's going to hit the floor, it's going to hit the ceiling, it's going to hit the walls. Father, you got to push it back minus, and these things can sit back 30 feet before they make contact with the screen. At 30 feet on the standard, you're going to be hitting everything. That's the problem he was having. He kept hitting the walls, he kept hitting the seats, he kept hitting the ceilings. I'm curious, people who are not well educated in the field to sell this stuff, how do you explain this? If you come across a customer that says, hey, look, I'm doing a dedicated theater room. My projector sits back around 30 feet. My screen's about 120 inches. And when I fire off the projector, it's just hitting everything. You come to my videos and learn stuff and then go tell them? Because I hear you explain none of that in any of the videos. You don't explain the calculation of distance throw, how much light you have per square inch in the environment, what type of projectors are. You don't have none of that in there. None of your videos. Just have, look at the colors. Look at the contrast. Look how much you, that's it. That's all I hear in these demonstrations. That's all. But anyway, so you need something called an extended zoom lens. If you know anything about venue projectors, and I do because I have quite a lot of them, which they have, don't get a lot of venue projectors. So, But anyway, Sony's have that. A Sony FA31, usually most likely they come with that lens. So that lens, which I had an extra one on the hand because he had a Chrissy projector. Yeah, he had a Chrissy projector, a Chrissy LW505. I don't think that's what it is. But he had one of those. And the lens he had was standard. Now the Chrissy, you can press a button on top, click, turn, and pull the whole entire lens out. And the problem he was having at the end of the day, that he was nailing everything and he just couldn't seem to pinpoint and hit that screen and just size it there. So I sent him over. I had an extra one sitting around. I sent it over to him, and when you click that in, it allows you to hit the screen with the lens shift in it, put it in there just nicely without touching everything else in the environment. And that's a dedicated theater room, and that's where the projector sits in the booth. Most people see the ones that are sitting from the ceiling, but the other ones, the real next beyond higher than that, are the ones that sit in booths. Now, what's more dedicated than that? 235.1 is. 235.1, 239.1, because that is considered to be extreme dedicated due to the fact that majority of most movies are not formatted in 16:9. Sorry, most are not formatted in 235 or 239.1. They're formatted in 16:9. So you'll have more selections. But you do have a lot of widescreen movies. There's a ton of them out there. There's more than what you need, basically, but majority of most of them are done at 16:9. Like you try to game off the 235.1, which I did a whole entire presentation on that. Basically, you're going to be missing the top of the heads and parts of the bottom. You're going to be missing because of the 16:9 screen you have, or I hope you don't have 4.3. But either way, it's not going to fit a 235.1 in there. If you have a 235.1, you have to be to measure the screen, because mine are customized. You have to measure the screen that it can fit a certain type of screen in there. I like to go between 106, 108, whatever I can fit in there, depending on the size of the screen. So ours is 108 inches. Has to be 108 inches long, which comes up to 9 feet. Each one's about 9 feet long. Height's about 42, so that's under about 4 feet. Yeah. So we're at 24 by 24, if we bring it that way. We're 48. But we got enough room to play around. If we ever want to switch back to 16:9 or 16:10, we can kick it right in the middle with no problem whatsoever, or expand the entire screen out. Now, does gray screens work on 235.1? Heck no, they don't. White screens don't either. You know why? Because you get something we call the zebra effect. So the zebra effect is basically well, the problem you have is you can't pull the cinema bars. You can't read that. Cinema bars come up in black. I can never understand that when I go to forum sites with gray screens. They talk about they have that real movie experience when you can't read the cinema bars because you can't see black. So how would you see the cinema bars to begin with? But what happens is, say you're trying to convert a 16:9 to a 235.1. The problem is you're going to have a space here and a space down here. Now, if it's a full 235.1 screen, it's going to cover from top to bottom. You're going to have a solid image from top to bottom. Like you see a little space here and here, that's what you're going to pick up. So what's going to happen is your black border you're going to have here, but your screen's going to be gray here, and then your screen's going to try to pick up this ashy looking cinema effect bar here, and then it's going to be somewhat discolored here. So you have a zebra effect going on. So that's why Silver Ticket sells you the curtain rods. They put the curtains up there and you slide it across and it covers up the gray area to give it, so it blends in with the black border to give you look like you have a 235.1 setup. So you got to curtain that baby at the end of the day. Where black screens don't have that issue because we don't require borders, because their screens are completely borderless. So that means if I were to do the entire wall, I can put up any size screen I want, or if I basically do this size right here, what I'm going to be putting anyway when I brush it around, I can put up 16:9, I can put up 1.1, it doesn't make a difference. I can put up a 4.3 on a screen that's 16:9, and you're really going to, only thing you're going to see is the basic fluctuation change in picture, but basically it's going to all still blend in because it's black. Benefits of a black screen when it comes to motorized or manual projection screens. True fact, because I got one sitting over there in the corner right now, manual. Manual screens, you can expand your screen size. Can't expand your screen size with a gray screen. You know what that border is for? The border is so you can keep the screen cut right in there. So if it expands over, it still fits nicely because it doesn't pick up on the black, because the black cancels out the image. So it stays to that nice little cut square. So basically, depending on if you're working with, I don't know, sometimes some of these companies put in a 2-inch border, sometimes they put a 3-inch border, and sometimes you got to measure because your screen is not going to be exactly 100 inches. Sometimes they take off what the border has compared to your screen. So say if your borders are 2 inches, your screen's going to be 98 inches, which means you're going to lose 2 inches off your actual screen, which is that viewing area, compared to the border, which is outside, which is going to take 2 inches from that. That's why when you look at a screen, it does it this way. It says this is your viewing area, and this is the size of your screen. So if that screen has a border around it and there's 2 inches on it, there's a good chance that 2 inches might have come off your viewing area screen, which means you have 98 here, and you have the other 2 there. Now, I've actually seen some companies actually put the whole 100-inch in, and then basically have the 2-inch border on the side, or a 3-inch border. So I have 3, I've seen only 4. So that's another issue right there. But with black technology, we don't need that freaking border. You know why? We paint over those things because it's not necessary, because the screen is borderless. If I want a border around my screen, all I have to do is just basically just bring it in a little bit on the zoom, and I got this thin razor border around it, which I don't even need. At the end of the day, I can just go full screen to screen. That means I acquire now the extra 2 inches and more off my screen, because now instead of me sacrificing 2 inches because my screen's gray or white, I gain 2 inches. Actually more than that, because you got 2 inches from the left, 2 inches from the right, that's 4 inches right there, 4 inches, 2 inches at the bottom, that's 6. So we got 6 extra inches on the screen, and then from the top you take a little bit off, and that equals to that, and now you got 8. You got 8 extra inches you add to your screen. Which means if your screen's 92 inches, when you code it with our technology, it becomes 100. I can see naysayers where we're confusing them. I don't have a chalkboard available right now. I really don't. And I don't have a dancing cloud for you guys. Not you guys at the end of the day. People understand what I'm saying. I'm educating you. Naysayers get very upset and bitter when I talk like this, because it gets a little confusing for them at the end of the day, because you're so used to lying on your channel and you don't tell the truth. And when I go to your channel and I read through some of your videos, I'm like, wow, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. You explained nothing in that video about anything at all whatsoever. Nothing at all. Like nothing. There's nothing there at all, period. But anyway, moving on. So that's why you're supposed to explain your videos. But you don't do that. All right. Did they explain to you the whole thing about fixed frame screens? Pretty much, they probably didn't explain to you. They probably told you all fixed frame screens are the same. No, they're not. You didn't explain that one correctly, did you? Because I've watched your demonstrations on fixed frame screens. You know nothing about what you just purchased at the end of the day. You don't know anything about the spring support system or the peg system. Don't get anything dirty out of that. It's called peg system. Those are the much easier ones to use. Silver Ticket uses them. I bought a dozen Silver Ticket screens. I bought Elite screens. I bought some screens called Shelby. Oh my goodness. That Shelby, whatever it costs screen at the end of the day, that thing is freaking heavy. That thing is the equivalent of carrying a 57 Chevy. You ever pick up a 57 Chevy car door? Do you have any idea how heavy those things are? That's a heavy door. I mean, that's what it felt like every time I was dragging that freaking thing up and down the stairs. Sorry, people, but they make a very heavy screen. Unlike the Elite screen, which is super lightweight, which again, I told you I can carry 126 inch with one hand down the driveway. Super lightweight. Then you got to worry about the whole rod system in the middle, because the rod systems can give you problems too. On top of that, some of those things don't even connect correctly. You got to beat that thing down with the hammer just to get them to lock in place. And then there's the whole thing with the whole plastic L brackets. You know, little brackets they give you that slap inside. Some can be made with a mixture of plastic and metal, which means that they could snap. And if one of these things happens to snap on you, that means now your screen's going to have a little uneven, where it's going to lift a little bit farther, and that's going to throw your picture image clean off. Your spring support system. Spring support systems on some of the cheaper screens can be shorter. If the springs are shorter, that means you're going to have to turn into the Incredible Hulk to get that thing to stretch all the way around. The easiest screen I've ever seen in my entire life, actually was two of them. There's another company, I can't remember the name. I got to go back and find the video on that. But Elite screens have an extremely easy spring system support. I've never had to use tools with their screens ever. There was another company I found almost exactly like them, but they were cheaper too, and they could do the same thing too with the spring system. Because some of the companies make them too short. What's the other headache? Oh yeah, they don't file the ports down. So the ports are basically where you slide the L brackets through. Some of them are not even filed. I had to go in with the grinder a couple of times and grind some of them down so I can get that little piece of slide in there. So when I put the screen and it locks together, I don't have the silver piece popping up on the corner because the edges didn't clean, they weren't clamped tight enough. Another issue to run into. Don't know the nightmares right there, pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much what the nightmares are going with it. So yeah, that's some of the stuff that can literally pop up when you buy a fixed frame screen. And then for the other fellow who sat there and told you that on a fixed frame screen that you already painted in, that if you want to basically paint over his coating or use his coating, you could, or change it up, you remove the bar. That is the dumbest thing I have ever heard in my entire life, Rogers. Danny Rogers made that statement. Yeah, I got it on recording, buddy. Every time you wanted me to play it, I'll play it. That was the dumbest thing. He would have caused you a complete, absolute nightmare. Why? Because the material that you're using is a soft PVC. And the soft PVC is designed to stretch around your frame like a drum. Tightens like a drum. But what happens is after you coat this, because I want you to coat it first, take it out of the frame, coat it first, and then put it on. That wouldn't have worked at all, period. So what happens is, when you paint over it, you kill the elastic. The ability to stretch, it does no longer exist. It actually tightens it up. So if you had painted that thing first, and then try to apply it to your frame, it'll never fit your frame. You'd have been out a lot of money. You don't believe me? Go buy a cheap frame, try it, see what happens. Yeah, you'd have been out of a lot of money. Because again, you can't stretch it because now it doesn't have the stretch property anymore due to the fact that you painted over the surface. The proper way on how to paint a fixed frame screen, we show dozens of demonstrations on this one. You go to the www.ILEG Technology Screens Info over there, and it gives you tons of information on how to paint a screen correctly, where basically you assemble the entire screen together. And then what you do is, when it comes to the bar in the back, you pad it. Take a piece of fabric or a towel, whatever, and you pad that in the back. Don't worry if you get a little lump in the front, that's not going to affect it. It's going to stretch right back out again. That keeps you from getting something called a screen imprint. As you hit it with a roller, we're going to find out that when you go watch something, you're going to have this little line right here, 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 where the bar was at. That's going to be a pain in your neck at the end of the day. So, pad the back of it. I do dozens of videos of me doing fixed frame screens from 235.1s, 150 inches, 120 inches, odd size like 128, 127, and so forth. But anyway, once that's done, you put frog tape on. You put your hand and you lift up the screen just a little bit, so you tuck that tape underneath. You don't just tape it around, because what's going to happen is when you tape it around, it's a possibility you could leave this much of a gap between the screen and your frame and whatever tape you put around it. That's going to leave a little gap in there. When you're splashing paint all around in there to paint your screen, you're going to leave a thin discoloration, a line all around where your tape didn't basically cover that particular part of the frame. And that's a velvet frame, by the way. So you want to make sure you tuck it underneath the frame, the tape. Bring it all the way around, tape the top of it, tape each corner, and then you paint over it. Now, why do you fully tape the frame? Because I saw the other one in his video, Jamie in his video, did not tape the entire frame, messed the screen up. Because what happens is, I don't care how long you've been painting, even professionals make mistakes. Everybody makes a mistake. You don't want to make sure you make it mistake proof. And when you're rolling, sometimes you could actually bump that brim and bump over it and roll over your velvet and damage it. So you want to make sure it's all taped up. So if you hit it, you don't have to worry about it. What's another one they don't tell you about? Let me see. There's a couple more they probably don't even tell you about on top of that. The frame in the middle, you're supposed to paint all that. Blah, blah, blah. Probably missing one, but now that you think about which one you've done it so many times, it's not even funny when every time they paint these things in. Acoustic? Ah, I've seen this mistake mentioned a couple of times. You can't use an acrylic with an acoustic. Why? Acrylic is a very thick base paint. If it's an acrylic screen, acoustic screen, you're going to block every single hole, which means it's going to cause the screen's going to muffle. Sound can't travel through it. Alright. So yeah, this is the stuff you're supposed to know. Tension screens, tabbies, which they have not painted. I've never seen any of them painted a tabby. Tabby screens have to be painted in differently. You mess up, you put tape, gets anywhere near that tension system, and you cause that thing to go off calibration, which means you pull it, like, anyway, the scrim's like when you wear a hoodie. If you wear a hoodie and you pull on one side of the string, and you got this little piece right here, and you go back and forth until you get it just right, that's literally what you're going to do to that frame. You're going to damage it. And that means it won't lay flat. Because it means when it comes down, it may be on a little slant this way, or this way, or this way. Yep. Now see how beautiful those colors are with that 100% jet black on the background. Look how crazy that looks. How 100% black. Look at the fish coming up around the corner. Oh my goodness. Yeah, see the problem is with the gray screen or white screen, you say, well, we could do a panel. You can do a panel too. You could do a panel. You could do a fixed frame screen. You could do a motorized projection screen, but you can't do contrast. You can't do color. You're not ambient light projection. That's it. There you go. And you're going to end up costing the consumer more money to fix your problem. Because, you know, if you can't save money yourself, how can you save other people money? So you can't operate in here. You can't operate anywhere. Let's go and get some other colors. What are we going to do? I don't even know. I've been in forum sites all the time having these conversations, and they swear up and down they see contrast. Who we see contrast? Yeah, what planet? What planet do you go to that you're seeing contrast? You cannot read it. Every time I watch our demonstrations, you got this ashy kind of discoloration that I literally can go in there with a cell phone and wash out your screen with a cell phone battery. What do we got going on over here? A cell phone, lighting a cell phone. Checking this out right here. Ooh. So you're supposed to pick up the white levels, all that. And like I said, be careful. Be careful. We catch you out there making statements that our technology comes out so dark. You ain't gonna like it. That's a $10 million hit. Take it to federal court for that one. So be careful if we find you. We don't need a bunch, we need one. That's all we need is one to get you one. That's it, just one. You find one, we see in the video making that statement? Oh yeah. Someone already documented you that fast before you get a chance. They're not even going to tell you. They're not going to tell you. They're not going to post on the bottom. They're just going to comment to your video, record it, document it. It's enough evidence to prosecute you, and they're going to get that cyber investigator to track your whereabouts, where you live at. And once he figures out where you lay your head at, where you work at, everything about you, then we send that over to the courts and we get a processor. We make sure we send all that information through. We're ready to get a court date set up. And once the court date set up, we have enough to prosecute you on what we're charging you with. We're the ones going to hit you with the charge. We're not going to, no, it's us that are filing against you. So once we basically file that lawsuit, all that goes through, everything's ready to go, and we got all your information on where you're at, then we go to you, where you live at, and we find a process server in your neck of the woods, and we send them over the document or packet or whatever they need from the courts of what we're getting ready to sue you for, what's it all about. And they get all that done and ready, and then they come to your address, and they knock on your door. And they say, hey, look, you're being sued by ILEG Technology Screens for defamation. And they're going to give you a letter. Now, if you don't want to take the letter, then they're just going to post it to your door. That's what they're going to do. And they're going to take a picture of it. They send it back to me. I send it over to the court, show that it was already delivered, and then you get a court date. That's it. They know exactly where you live at. You get a court date from the court. It won't even come from a process server. There'll be a letter coming in the mail telling that you're being sued and blah, 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 and that you have to appear on this particular court date. You failure to show up. You forfeit all rights and blah, blah, blah. That's what's going to tell you. So that's what's going to happen. Now, And when we get there and you don't show up, we sue you. It doesn't make a difference. You show or not, you're still going to get hit with it. And then once all that's done, I get my judgment. I go where I have to go in that building. I get something called execution of judgment. And then I go hire a debt collector in your neck of the woods to go take your stuff from you and take money out of your paycheck. And they take care of it from there once we pay them. Their job is to go in and figure out what you're worth, where you work at, so for how to get that money. Because they're going to get a percentage on that money. So they're going to make sure they get theirs. Now once all that's done, and we go back into court and we file criminal charges against you, because that's considered fraud against my business. And now this is where things get hairy, because now with the criminal charges, that means we can have you expedited here in Pennsylvania to stand for charges that you want on your YouTube channel, make statements about our company that you were trying to maliciously spread false rumors and trying to damage my company's name. And this is where it gets hairy. Now you don't show up for this, you'll get a you get a bounty hunter, or you'll get police will come to your front door because you have a bench warrant for failure to show up in court. That's how nasty these things can get. That's why I advise you, don't do dumb stuff. Ooh, look at that house. I like how they had that set up. I know anybody looking at that thinking dirt bike. Yeah, the same thing. They got a nice little house. What is going on down here? This is a river coming through here? Oh my goodness. See, they got the hookup. This is a hookup. They got people look at this, you understand, they got a limited flow of energy. Look at this right here, down this creek right here. And that creek got to lead to something. Oh, they got a nice little hookup here. And the house is a cute size too on top of that. Got a nice little wooded area over here. Got a nice road. This is actually it's probably a main road. Oh, we got a house over here too. This is perfect. That's a perfect area to live at. I don't know if you can see that from there. Let's go to your screen. Oh my goodness, I like that. That is nice. That's a nice piece of land right there. See right here? You got a nice little stream right here coming down here. Man, that's a good source of power right there. Over here, you got a main road. Oh, there's another house right there. See, I can do it with neighbors like this. Neighbor there, neighbor up there. This is perfect. And you can see somebody's in a car over there. And there's a house right there. Oh, see, that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. Minus a landslide, but who cares? Man, see, that's what I'm talking about. That's what you call the buffer zone of neighbors. You know, you get here, one there, and one there. Anything happens, you're good. It's probably a small town down there somewhere. But anything happens, it's like a little store right there. Oh, heck yeah. That is fantastic right there. I would clear out some of that land back there and put in a landing strip so we can have planes come in and drop off supplies. And I'd basically cut a deal with the store over here that basically, pay me a little rent, whatever, a little money on the side or whatever, and I can have your planes land there, which will be closer to your to stock your stores. Make money off of it. Matter of fact, you make money throughout the whole town because you have a little landing strip out there. And if you bank the money the right way, you get a couple little small commercial little planes, nothing big, you know what I mean? And you can basically have a little shipping carrier, make money out there. See, you gotta learn how to make money. How to make money anywhere, man. I swear I can make money anywhere. And our brain functions on that level. It's always a level for business. Yeah, have a nice little landing strip out there, planes can come in and land. You can supply anything anyone needs. It can come to your place and say, hey, I need so and so and so. Can you get that? Because you can have it flown in because you got the strip out there and your license and everything legit for it. Oh, told you. Yeah. And still having a little comfortable place out there at the end of the day. Dirt bike. That's the first thing here. 4-wheel, dirt bike, 4x4s, whatever. Somebody's traveling up a dirt road right over there. Oh, the lighthouse. No, not for me. Not for me. They're beautiful, though. Beautiful. What we got for time here? We're not even past time yet. Not even time. Not even time. Look, they put the windmill generators. They had them out in the sea, sitting out in the sea. But anyway, yeah, they should be telling you this stuff. You have to know all this stuff. And this is the reason why when we come in and we go to form sites, I hear it so much, man. You got to calibrate. People complain about the color. People complain about their contrast levels. They think it's the projector's fault. It's not the projector's fault. Oh, you've got a knockoff. It's definitely your projector's fault. But most likely it's your screen. It's definitely your screen. deafen your screen. Thing is supposed to look like a TV. You should not be spending $3,500 for a projector. Yeah, but it has 4K. You'll never see that. You're not going to see 4K on a gray and white screen. You'll never pick that up. It doesn't make a difference. You wasted your money. You're never going to see that. But it has all these colors. You're never going to pick up any of those colors. No, the colors are mostly going to be washed out, faded. You got to be in the dark most of the time. Just get half of your work. Not going to happen. It has contrast. Forget that too. That's not going to happen. You spent way too much money for your machine. $50, that's it. $50, and my demonstrations and my customers' demonstrations are better than those who spent thousands of dollars for their machines. I know, because I'm on a site for luxury home theater setups, and they spent all this money, and they got a white and gray screen in there, and that screen looks absolutely trifling. I'm like, where's your contrast? Where's your color? Where's anything that? You know, we gotta. It's meant to be, you know, in this environment. You know, I got the machine calibrated. Yeah. See that right there, people? $50. So my customers at the end of the day don't spend a lot of money for their projectors. They don't have to. Everybody else is going to cost you thousands of dollars, and you're still going to be stuck in a dark environment. You're still going to be calibrating and going through all that crap at the end of the day. Yeah, so many customers will sit there and tell me that they spent, one of these guys only spent all this money for this projector. But it does so and so and so, this, that, and the other. And I have it on a white screen. Oh my God, no, this is just not going to work, man. You're not going to pick any of that up. Yeah. White, gray screens, can't see color. See that beautiful flame on the Phoenix? Gorgeous. It comes up. See the cinema bars? They're black, right? That's where they're supposed to be. You're supposed to be gray. Your cinema bars come up gray, fail. Especially when you're outside and your cinema bars come up gray, fail. It's supposed to be black. I think the problem is that people accept it. That's the sad thing about it. You spend all that money and you just have to settle for it. Never had to settle for it, ever. And if I had to settle for it, then I might just buy a TV. I ain't going out like that. I'm not in no dark environment. I spent all this money for expensive. I just bought a TV. Be done with it. And $3,500 for I just buy a TV. You're stuck in the dark all day long with a $3,500 machine? Are you freaking kidding me? And I can't get the colors to freaking flow right. I'm not picking up contrast correct. Don't buy a TV. Are they doing that sound for a different sound? All dedicated theater rooms. See how dark they have to be? And they have a little light in the back to little give off. And our technology, I could fire this entire room up fully lit. The walls could be blinding white, and that thing would still read with no problem whatsoever. They have to do this because, again, it's a nice movie setting. You want to be on the lights when you get dark. But at least in the dark, you still want to be able to see the contrast level, which we've done that. I did a demonstration for something called Mr. Mannequin. We had a mannequin. We had him sitting in the background to show you how much white light splashes off white and gray screens. They reflect to the ceilings. They reflect to the floor, all that stuff. All that white light is pushing back at you. Yeah, it can't absorb light, that's why. It's another thing, too, they splash light all over the environment. Let me see. Come with me, you'll see. Now, see, I can see everything nice and bright. Our letters come up nice and bright. Now, for those of you who feel those adventurous, want to sit there and say, well, he's using special camera equipment. Oh, please make that statement. We catch you on that one. That's also, too, another one that hit spikes at a $10 million lawsuit. Because it's very, very, again, you have to prove that. You can take my camera and use it. You want in court? Feel free. You can't prove that. You owe me 10 mil. And this will carry prison charges with it too, 5 to 10 years, which will push for the judge. Explain the procedure how it's going to be done the exact same way. Same thing I explained to the other one, how we're going to do him. I told him, look, I'm going to have a process server come to your door, knock on your door. And he laughed about it. And guess what? Process server came over and knocked on his door. That easy to get it done. So you make that statement, you're going to have to back that up in court. And I heard somebody make a statement. Danny, not Danny. What's his name? McAfee made a statement that we use high-powered 5,000 lumen projectors. He can't get that right. It's going to cost him a lot of money. That's what I say. He's being sued for a lot of money. He made a lot of dumb statements in those videos when he was participating with Danny and making a Series C nonsense. They're both going to be sued on that mess. So you made the statement. I got your recording saying it. So you better be to back that up in court. If not, you're going to be a lot of money. And certain ones spike at over 10 because of what's being said. Now, I can hit you higher than that. I've seen people get hit like that guy who made that statement about the voting machines. Multiple times he made this statement, and they sued him for $149 million. So, again, I can go to court, I can sue you for whatever I want. I say, I'm going to sue you for $100 million. I'm going to sue you for $50 million. I'm going to sue you for $10 million. I'm going to sue you for $1 million. As long as I can back up that you actually said this. And if I have you on a YouTube video making this statement, I got you. Problem you're going to have at the end of the day, you're going to have to prove that what you said on camera was legit. If not, it's considered to be defamation and slander, and we can get you on it. So you're going to have a problem on your hands. That's why I said we're going to make a lot of money off our trolls. I have paid certain people to go online and to track down accounts. They're listening and watching your videos, what you say. Anything comes up, making these statements at the end of the day, they're going to start the process on you. And you will never be notified. The only time you'll be notified that this is happening to you is when you get a letter in the mail from the company. That's the only way you'll know. So it's not going to be somebody coming to your site saying blah, 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 blah. You won't see that. I won't be mentioned. If we get that information back to us and they tell me who you are or whatever, I won't mention it at all, period. I only mention the people that we have already who started this nonsense. But we won't mention it at all, period. How you'll know? You'll get a letter. You'll get a letter. A process server either will come to your door, or it'll probably mail a letter to your front door. Then you know you're being sued. And we'll give you a nice little copy of the flash drive, so you can plug it in to see what you're being sued for. That way you can give that to your attorney. And it'll explain to you: do not contact us. Do not contact the attorneys that will see you in court, because there's no plea deal. We're not working for any plea deals and nothing that. We're going to sue you for whatever we feel we can sue you with. 3 or 4. That's what I mean. Ooh, look at that. Isn't that cool or what? That's all. It's simple and plain. Just don't say things you shouldn't say. Oh, good colors. Pretty on here. That's why YouTube's interesting. Defamation is a very hard lawsuit to prove. It is. Unless you have the person recording himself doing it. There's a fellow who basically talked about, it was a couple of weeks ago. He's in federal prison right now. He went on YouTube and he talked about using a 3D printer to make weapons, guns. Actually, these guns actually work. They're guns that actually fired off. Guns, grenades, what was another thing? Knives, all kinds of stuff he was making using a 3D printer. And he went on YouTube and he talked about these weapons he was making. And he was showing off videos of these weapons and stuff he was making. And FBI called him, so somebody tipped the FBI off, and they caught on to it, and he's arrested. He's in jail now. And they have evidence. They have tons of evidence on him now, because they have videos of him. They were watching him the entire time. And they have videos of him making these weapons, and they have videos of him on camera talking about these weapons and selling these weapons. So now he's sitting in federal jail right now. So not hard to prove things now anymore, because you have YouTube, you have social media. That's why. There are police officers who sit on social media. I don't know if you don't realize that. There are police officers and law enforcement officers who sit on social media gathering information. Now, if somebody puts a report in about you, they don't watch your channel. It's against the law to use a 3D printer to basically make weapons. It's also against the law to use a 3D printer to do a copyright, trademark, and patent infringements, counterfeiting. Counterfeiting is not just money. Counterfeiting can be a number of things. Oh, look how beautiful that image looks. So, yeah. Right now, most attorneys at one point wouldn't take defamation lawsuits. They were hard to prove. Now, just about every single attorney takes a defamation lawsuit because of YouTube and social media. Because people will get on there and talk about their crimes, and they got you that quick. You do know that when they tell you that when you delete a video off your account, when you make this statement by saying at the end of the day that it says, well, once you delete it's permanently gone for you. It's not permanently gone for the other side. There's a copy of your videos on the other side. You do know that, right? When you delete the videos, there's copies of them on the other side. Nothing disappears off the internet. Nothing. Nothing that goes poof, goes into some kind of wormhole and disappears. No, there's a trace of it somewhere. It's just that you don't have it anymore, but it's on there. So any videos, anything you committed, it's on another server somewhere. Nothing disappears online. Nothing. Scary, isn't it? As a person in the field, I'm not dumb enough to do dumb stuff till I have to delete off my account. Only thing I delete off my account in the day is a video that I might not be happy with. You know what I mean? I say, I talk too much about this on it. I don't want to watch it. If I don't watch it myself, I just delete rid of it. That's it, and I redo the video again. But people have actually had evidence because they've done something. If you think for a hot second that you think because you delete on your end that it's not sitting somewhere on a server somewhere, yeah, you're sadly mistaken on that. It's like a PayPal account or a Facebook account. If you get rid of your Facebook account or your other account, it deletes on your side, not on the other side. If that was the case, you couldn't do something called account recovery. If it permanently deleted, nothing permanently deletes. A bunch of people are sitting back right now thinking like, oh yeah, be worried if you did something dumb because yeah. It doesn't permanently delete, ever. It just goes somewhere else, that's all. You don't have it anymore, that's what it is. That's all. You did get rid of a PayPal account, that account will be sitting there for years before it actually comes out, before it actually goes out. And it's still got to go somewhere. So yeah. Are we past time here? We are past time here. We are. What are we doing? We got to go pick up Surface is coming in today to finish up the screen. We go to the post office into the Surface here. I can take the box and the Surface up there. Let's see exactly what the shipping cost cost me. What else we doing? Anything else or anything? Anything else we need today? I get cardboard next door when we finish building that thing. We want to pop over to that thrift store if they got over there. Because I know they got some pretty cool stuff and I can use from other PCs, especially the Fallout unit. Let me see. We're going to stick this screen in the Halo system for fun. For fun, people, stick it in a Halo system for fun. For Halo system. I got 2 extra screens now because the other one came with 12, a pack of 12. That's all we need is 12 to build the screens. So I'm just going to take one of these and stick it in the Halo. Yeah, we'll build a Halo system. That's what we do. Halo system. We'll build in a while. Sunny day. I'm going to paint the entire thing and freaking all of our screen paint. Amazing technology. So let me show you here, people. I'm going to build me, what's my new Halo system? Get the lights over there. Lights over there, good. Take that frame off and get ready to build the other one. I hope my box is coming early today. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? The box that it comes in, once I take it over there, they come real nice boxes, by the way. I'm going to turn my box into a projection screen. I'll paint over it because I got to do some paint over demonstration. So I'm just going to paint over the box, turn it into a projection screen that came in, hang it up, and just watch a movie off of it. So easy, your kids can paint the screen. And complicated instructions. Up, down, over, up, down, over. Start from the section where you started from forward. Bring it back up, bring it back up. I'm like, when we doing an infinity continue for Contra? That's what it feels like. See, that's that old school. He went back and did the old school stuff. People back then, because of blue screen, and they made your instructions so complicated. People thought the more complicated the screen, the more advanced the screen. No, that's freaking headache. Who the frick want to be going through all that nonsense? Just paint it and be done. Oh, I forgot, we do got cardboard. We got packages coming in today. All right, we're going to take that and just convert that. It's an interesting, like we're doing our recycling at the end of the day. All the boxes beginning here, we cut them up and we turn them into those sculptures over there. So we recycle all the boxes coming in now because we turn them into sculptures. You need a lot of cardboard. So the more stuff we order, the more stuff we can basically cut up and recycle into that over there. We got our own recycling system going on, people. What do you think about that? How you like the flowers? Aren't they gorgeous? Absolutely gorgeous. Look at it. Look at it. We're going to both at the same time. But anyway, we got a customer. Actually, customer has a few companies. They put an order in. They got the same projector I got right now. I told them to go buy it because, you know, you don't have to spend all this money at the end of the day. Not necessary. Look how beautiful that image looks, people. Oh. Looks just like a TV. Got a commercial there? Yippee-ki-yay. Yippee-ki-yay. I can't afford one. I gotta wait for my projector. $20 to get a projector. That's it. $50 get a projector. $10 get a projector. That's all you need. 720p, 600 by 800, SVGA, no HDMI ports. That's all you need. You don't need any of that stuff. It's not even necessary. Those projectors at Optima, no, sorry, what's the projector called over there? I gotta get me an Optima 2. I'm picking another Optima 2. I got one for $37. That projector over there, the PowerLight S6 projector, that's it. That's all you need. You know that spend all that money. You crazy? It's just unbelievable. Do I need 4K? You don't need freaking 4K. You saw these images look on the screen? We're not even running no 4K in here. You don't even run it. It's not even running an eco. It's on eco mode right now. So we don't even burn the lamps full. These lamps last forever. So you don't need all that. You pulling your hair out, trying to find the right screen for your setup. You're just wasting your time, man, on all that, man. You just get over that freaking nightmare and just buy one of these cheap projectors and be done with it. If it doesn't have an HDMI port on, who freaking cares? You just put them adapters in it. One person said you can't put the adapter in because it changes the resolution. Do we seem to have any problem with using projectors that use that adapter at the end of the day? I don't seem to be having any problems. My screen's coming out crystal clear and super sharp. Like they're doing right now. Kaboom. Kaboom, people. Kaboom. So you just pulling out your hair. At $20 you just spent for lunch, you could have bought a projector. There you go. Now, for the other people that make the gray screens in the day, but saying, but your product costs, one product costs what it should cost. Well, actually, no, it should be costing a lot more than that. Because I take out certified. You don't take out certified. You don't take out the Diamond technology, Elite technology, Dark Star 9. You don't take out the Parallax. You don't take out none of that. You couldn't compete with that technology if your life depended on it. You don't operate in fully lit environments. We do that. You don't operate outside. We do that. You don't even operate on projector mapping applications because it doesn't work. The only equipment that's right over there. And I did a test. It doesn't work on a gray screen. For a screen paint that's supposed to be saving you money, you sure enough spend a lot of money for a projector to fix the contrast levels, and even when it has tons of colors, you still are basically stuck with the painstaking task of calibrating that thing at the end of the day. Ultra short though? No, does not work on those screens whatsoever. It just doesn't, because we've seen it in dozens of demonstrations. Your environments are literally so dark, I can watch the movie off the chassis of your projector. That's how dark your environment is. So you don't save any money. You actually waste a lot of money on a projector to try to fix something that doesn't even work. Meanwhile, my customers will go out and spend $200-300 for our technology, and then turn around and spend $50 to $20 for a projector. You'll spend $3,500 $3,000, $2,000, still way more than what my customers are paid for. Even at $1,000, they're still higher than what my customers pay for at the end of the day. My customers can do it under $500 mark and lower than that, and still pick up an image far more superior than your gray and white or gunmetal screens could ever read. We read black 100%. And we pick up a white level literally so high that I can blend into your gray screens with no problem. And a white screen couldn't even dare turn that technology unwatchable, as you saw downstairs. How remarkable it was. Thanks to the individual who sat there and said, wow, you mean the white screen does, yeah, it does the same thing, because at the end of the day, we can actually read a white level literally so high that the white screen can't make our colors dark and unwatchable, but yet we can pull a contrast level that a white screen can't even read, and color balances that white screens can't read off of. On top of that, absorb tons of light without no problem whatsoever. And it'll cost you a lot of money in the whole process. Good on. That's why they hate it when I talk like that. Like, oh my goodness, but I can say that. I can say that 100%. And here, I'm going to give you the kicker at the end. If you feel in any way that any of the demonstrations I just did here are completely fake, you sign my contract for $1 million and you're walking in court. Don't get on your YouTube channel and cry about it. We don't have time for the Barbie scenario. Be a man, sign the contract, meet me in court, and I'll show you 100% that that technology reads and does exactly what it's trying to do, and you will owe me $1 million at the end of the day. And never think at the end of the day, Mr. Bird won't collect his money, because I'll have a debt collector at your front door to get what belongs to me. Don't play games. You want to run with the big G, right? Big G, the big dog, when they call it in the day. Yeah, you got the wrong person at the end of the day. I'm a man of business. That's why I do so much testing. You know why I do so much testing? One thing I fear the most, someone exactly like me. That's what I fear the most. That's why I put so much testing in. Yeah, get it done. If I'm going to sit there and say that a screen, that technology right here, that monster right there, can read anywhere the freak it wants to read, guess where I'm going to be at? All over Allentown with that baby. And that's what I did. Went everywhere with it. Bam, 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 bam. See that promo demonstration we just launched? That's going to 8 companies right now. That's going to 8 companies. A promo demonstration we just launched. It's going to 8 companies to show them the future of the new technology. When I'm done with that thing, we got samples going out to every certified company so they can get an idea what the future looks like. That they can't compete with us. Dun, dun, dun. Look at the commercial on that. Look at the commercial. Look at that. Look at the white levels and contrast combined. Look at that. Bam, 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 bam. Got one of these things today. You ever seen these things before? I do. It's a little game they play with these notes. So basically I had to go in here and I have to get my own stamp, put my stamp on here somewhere, and then I have to basically go to Where's George and go in and send this off, which I'm going to do. I'm sure where this bill been at. I can go track and see exactly all the places this bill been at. So I'm going to do this one, I'm going to send it back out. It's me back here acting up behind camera. It's just me acting up behind camera. Ugh. My goodness. All right, we've had fun here. I talked to, now mind you, for customers, this is not towards you in any way. Not when I come off like that. The aggression is toward those who make crappy products. At the end of the day, you should be selling better products to your customers. That's why I come off so hard on them. You as a customer should be getting better. You should be getting much better. There's no way in the world these jokers should be forcing you to buy high-end projectors, be forced in dark environments, be forced to calibrate these machines, and all the other nonsense they put you through. You should not be going through this crap. A 600 by 800 720p projector will do the job perfectly without you spending all this money. They make you spend that money because their stuff doesn't work. Now, for anyone out there who has a gray screen or white screen, you're going to tell me right now, as we're on this camera, you're going to tell me right now that your screens read 100% contrast? Because if you have anything on your site that states that you're reading a black level, a black, not gray, a black level, you lie to your customer. If you're saying you have a 2.0 gain, you're a liar. Because the 2.0 gain should be able to operate in a fully lit environment without any problems whatsoever, without screen deterioration, without calibrating, without color washout. So, with that being said, at the end of the day, you have not been truthful to your customers. You used a lot of smoke and mirrors and trickery to fool them to believe that they're getting something when actually they're not. Because I see these people on forum sites complaining about why the projector doesn't work, why the screen doesn't work, how much light they need in the environment for the screen to function. These are questions that should not come up. You see what my customers do? My customers go outside and watch sea turtles. That's what you should be able to do. So if these other people at the end of the day, these are the ones I speak to at the end of the day like that, I speak to them this way because they should know better. Do not sell products that you know darn well are not going to do what they're supposed to do. Stop ripping your customers off. If you feel at the end of the day that any of the products I do here are false, you meet me in court. And if you feel that your screen reads 100% contrast and I'm wrong about your gray screen, then you take me to court. I guarantee you, you won't see us in court, and I guarantee you won't take me. But I'll take you to court on that whole thing about your screen reading a black level. I definitely will do that. Because the consumer should get what they paid for. If you, the people who make these products, would get extremely upset if someone cheated you on something they sold to you, why do you do it to other people? So I get this from customers all the time. Someone got them to buy a very expensive projector to go with a white screen. Didn't work. Someone told them the screen was going to give them contrast and excellent color, and they're stuck in the dark, and the screen's poorly washed out, and it didn't work. And then you jokers get online and go, oh, but again, you write that check, I will cash it for you. Do you understand? So you need to make products better for your customers. Because if not, a person like me will challenge you in court, and you don't want that. All right, then, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Oh, look. I love when we had the water flowing, like it flickers at the top. It's pretty cool in invisible screens. Oh, that's freaking cool. I love that so much. Oh, we don't use monitors anymore. I get rid of my monitor. That's the whole point of developing technology. So you change the things around you, not make it so that the customer has to spend more money to change the things around them. That technology can replace a computer monitor. I don't know, that flickering or bright monitor no more. That thing is fantastic. I get no more headaches, no glares. It has this incredible, beautiful screen that picks up and washes images right through it. It's futuristic. I freaking love it. Hold on for a minute. Oh, wait. Go on this one over here. And they're less expensive than your monitors, bigger than monitors. And on top of that thing can go outside. I can watch a movie off of it. See? Beautiful. Game off it, the whole 9 yards. The object of developing new products is so you can change the outcome of the consumer to make it easy for them, to give them more advanced technology. And that's what we're doing here. And with the technology we have there. So because of our technology, customers don't have to buy expensive projectors anymore. They're not stuck in forced environments. They don't have to calibrate. They have to never worry about a contrast level ever again. They have $20 rolling around their pocket right now. They could buy a projector and our technology, and boom, they'll be able to do things you can't even do. But your technology doesn't give them that. Your technology costs them more money. You give them more of a headache. You're supposed to make things easier, not harder for them. So when I talk like that, they'll try to say, oh, he speaks to it. No, I don't speak to my customers that way. I speak to you that way because you should be doing a better job of making better products. That's what you should be doing. All right, gotta go. Thank you all, and God bless.